If you feel like you are too much, you have too many passions, or are too complex for the neat little boxes that culture lays out for you, this is for you. You need to know that you do not need to shrink in order to be successful. You don't need to niche down in order to be valid. But what you do need to do is to trust the fullness of who you are, especially when the world tells you not to. You're not lost, you're not broken, you're just multidimensional as fuck in this human body, expressing your creativity in all of the ways that make you feel alive. It's gonna be messy, but this video is my attempt to help you understand the problem of niching down, picking just one thing, to help you understand the truth of who you're being asked to become, and how to trust yourself again and create from depth and not pressure. So if you're new here, my name's Kev. I'm an award-winning furniture designer, creative strategist, and I help ambitious creatives become more emotionally intelligent, get into their bodies, and express themselves more fully so they can do all the lovely things they crave to do with their creativity. So the problem I see it might sound a little harsh, but there really is like this kind of tyranny of needing to become hyper-specialized in one thing, of niching, you know? And I feel like this really fragments the creative operating system, the creative body, the creative nervous system, if you will. Pick one thing almost is this sort of manipulative mechanism to control, right? It's a response to the system that we are living within that, of course, has all of its light and shadows. But the pick one thing is this sort of societal pressure, right? Because that tends to fit the mold of what society, quote, is looking for, but it does not usually fit the mold of what you crave. And I do believe that this system is shifting and changing, because I see people that are no longer guaranteed the fulfilling life that the system said, if you go to school, if you get this job, you'll have all these perks and benefits, and you'll live happily ever after. And I think that is dissolving. I know that's dissolving, right? And chances are, if you're here, you crave a more inside-out approach to life, using your creativity as the vessel for which you impact the world and feel fulfilled now, right? So this kind of tension between this system that's been in place, that is sort of shifting and dissolving, and to the world you know is possible, that you believe in, that you can tap into through your creative heart, that creates a lot of sort of confusion, a sense of shame for not being successful or more successful, a sense of shame for not having it all figured out, and this pressure to self-abandon, because you look at what everyone else is doing and you think they're so much more successful, so you think, if I abandon part of my authenticity now to do the thing that's going to make me money, then I'll have more time and space to do more of what makes me feel authentic. That's bullshit. That doesn't work, but I feel that pressure. I feel that pressure too. So we've really been taught to trade our sort of complexity for, quote, clarity. And I don't think this is actually clarity. Clarity at the cost of our wholeness isn't clarity at all. It's sort of a collapse, a fawning, a people-pleasing into what the world wants you to be, not who you want you to be, right? So the truth, as I see it, is you're not meant to be a cog in a wheel. You're not meant to be a brand. You're not meant to be a hyper specialist. You are meant to be in your body. That's who you are, right? In this moment, in this life. And while you are in your body, you get to connect to what is alive in you. And that can take you in 1,000 places that you could never possibly imagine. When we don't have trust in our connection to our body, that's when we leave our center, abandon our authenticity as creatives, which is our gift to the world, and which is an emanation of our deep presence. So when we abandon what our deep presence is, being completely in the truth of who we are, to become more of what someone else believes we should be, we are sacrificing all the things that are actually going to create the conditions for us to embody the life we desire. You're going to sacrifice presence, authenticity, trust, patience, boldness, alignment, all of those things in the name of productivity, of hustle culture, of not stepping into your power, doing what someone else tells you to do. And again, have compassion, because I would say that 100% of us have struggled with that, have made decisions that are inauthentic, have followed paths that were not fully in alignment with who we know ourselves to be. You're not to blame, but now you are responsible. So what life do you want to create? What is the future you believe in that you can step into right now? The true, quote, niche is you. And I know that that's talked about now, but I want to reframe that as like your essence is the container for which you impact the world. And your essence is really, really unlimited, right? It's pure, and it fills all of the different containers you have in your life. The container, think of someone like Leonardo da Vinci, I don't know, just off the top of my head. Someone who was an amazing engineer, also a painter, also a sketch artist, which my favorite piece by Leonardo da Vinci in one of the Da Vinci museums, and I forget what city in Italy, is literally a sketch of a duck. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen, because it's also like abstractly, asymmetrically composed on an old sheet of paper. All that to say is, that man, alien, whatever you want to call him, was so multifaceted, multi-dimension, had all of these passions and dimensions inside of him that it occurs to us he allowed to express through him all as unique emanations of him. It doesn't matter what it was that he did, you felt him inside of it all, because that's embodiment. That's being attuned to your deep presence in your body and creating from that depth instead of the pressure of needing to fit the box. One day he's an engineer, one day he's an inventor, the next day he's a painter, the next day on and on and on and on. So you can think of your purpose as the depth and presence that you embody by going inward. Your vocation then is this evolution of all the rivers that emanate from that same core, but all start from that core, right? And there's going to be different seasons to what those vocations, those passions, those careers, those businesses, those creative outlets look like, and let them evolve. But I also want to be exceedingly clear as well that this path is just messy. It doesn't fit into the neat system that's been created that our culture is living in, that is dissolving. So to embody the skills that are needed to thrive in the neat system while also staying so connected to your joy and authenticity is this messy dance. It's going to take a lot of failure and recommitment. It's going to take a lot of rupture and repairing. It's going to take a lot of fucking up and continuing to open your heart anyways, right? And what is going to be the sort of creative fuel to help you continue giving your gifts is learning how to trust yourself again. Now this is deep, nuanced, and I invite you to check out the Embodied Creative Toolkit, the link's in the description, or you can take a much deeper dive and run real-time experiments about what feels good in your body and trusting your unique aliveness and creativity. But for now, I can speak to a few small practices that will help you cultivate trust from the inside out. The first of which is to feel your resistance. We often have this paradox as creatives to resist our resistance. And what I mean by resisting our resistance is we notice when we're not doing the thing that we want to do, we're avoiding doing something, and then we avoid feeling that feeling of avoiding. I know it's super fucking meta, right? But in essence, when we resist our resistance, we are not sitting in whatever our current emotional state is. If we are in resistance, something is moving through us that we're not feeling. So there's a huge amount of wisdom in that. It's not trying to sabotage you. Now, if we completely subscribe to it and believe those stories, sure, it sabotages you. But the real sabotage is not listening to what resistance is opening the door to inside of yourself, because it's just a doorway. It's a window and an opportunity to sit with the feeling that you are not allowing yourself to feel. And inside of that, we have to fucking shift a lot of patterns. We got to stop distracting, stop numbing, stop looking outside of us for answers, and learn to self-source in the discomfort, you know? And so resistance, when we avoid something and we feel the resistance, it's actually a call to lean in and to inquire, what is there for me to embrace here? What am I to learn today in resisting this? Now again, I can only dive in to a small extent here. Check out the Embodied Creative Toolkit for more. But we're going to move on to the next one. So another practice to learn how to trust yourself is to create before you clarify. To create without 100% clarity, right? The truth, and when I say truth, is what is coming from your deep core and wants to be expressed through you, that arrives in movement, you know, that arrives in a moment, not in any sort of overgrazing, overthinking. I call it overgrazing, but overthinking, right? You're never gonna have 100% clarity on how it's all gonna work out. If you're waiting for clarity, you're gonna waste your life. I mean, quite frankly, that's just the reality, right? If you wait to have all the answers figured out before you begin, you're going to be waiting your whole life, and then you're going to be 60, 70, 80 on your deathbed and be like, fuck, did I really give my gifts fully? And also know that if that's you, by looking at the demographics who watches this, I don't think that's you, but if that is you, and even if this isn't you, just know you're always exactly where you need to be right now. But now, you're not to blame, but you are responsible. So create without feeling completely ready or completely clear how it's all going to click together. You might have 4 different passions. Great, create. Spend an experiment of 30 days creating over here. See how it feels, pivot, adjust. You know what, now I'm feeling like I want to do underwater basket weaving. Great. You know, just to milk the example and add some humor into it, right? Because this has to be as playful as serious. That's the only way it really sticks, at least that I find. Maybe if you're a robot, you just want, like, give me the algorithm and the strategy. But no, you gotta loosen the shoulders and play a bit, baby, yeah. Then the biggest part about really trusting yourself is anchoring into your body, not into any of these outer metrics that we get so addicted to, you know? This is especially a practice for me right now because thanks to you all, my YouTube channel is starting to be in that kind of phase like this, which is very exciting, but it really becomes a practice to create some space from that kind of excitement and just stay attuned to my body and create from the place that is unattached to those things. Now, of course, this is a business for me. I have to be pragmatic and realistic about what's working and look at the data, right? But when I create, I want to be as connected to me as opposed to connected to numbers, metrics, and what might do well. Like I can cater to some of that, let's say 20%, but I want 80% of my expression, if not 100, right? But I mean, there are certain sort of dances that we have to dance that I want that expression to predominantly come from the core of me that would just prefer to give this anyways, regardless of the outcome, you know? So really breathing into and anchoring into your body, your core, your heart, your womb, your gut, wherever it is that you create from, getting into that place before all of the noise of the outside world even if they're successful metrics or otherwise, tell you this is how you should be. Check in with yourself first, be in the body, then create. And then huge practice about trusting yourself is just say the truth out loud. Say what you desire. Own it. Own it fully, you know? Like, I don't want to choose one thing. I want to unify all of my passions with my deep presence. I want a successful YouTube channel that impacts thousands of people in creatives so that they feel resourced to go impact other people in their community with their creativity. Damn, you know, own it. Tell the truth out loud and watch what happens. This is an experiment I'm doing right now where I'm just owning my desires out loud and seeing how that kind of is raising the tide. And the tide, high tide raises all ships type of analogy, you know. So this is also my kind of contrarian, right? Most creatives are great with the creativity, sure, and they want strategy, but I call bullshit. Like, you don't need more strategy, you need to be more honest. Honest with what's occurring in your body, even if it's dense, even if it's sticky, or if it's beautiful, right? Connect to that level of honesty and truthfulness in yourself and express from that place, right? That's your depth. So people will feel your depth rather than the pressure of you needing to fit into a box, into a system that, quite frankly, maybe isn't where your gifts will be best given, right? It's like being an architect and working as a sous chef. Sure, you can bring a lot of your creative gifts to that place, and for a time that might be a really beautiful experience. But when you're feeling called to design architecture and you're in this old system that doesn't really celebrate that, it's going to take some awkward work to kind of create your own system, right? So before I go down that rabbit hole, I want to affirm that you are not broken, you're not lost. It's messy and it can feel confusing, but what life is calling you towards is wholeness and integration, right? The most integrated part, the most integrated you is the one who embraces all aspects of you and loves all of them, from the fears you have, to the desires, to this passion, to that inspiration, hobby, whatever it is, you know, owning them fully, right? So I want to invite y'all, if you're ready to root into that deep creative truth and build something from your body, not just for the algorithm, the Embodied Creator Toolkit is for you. The link's in the description below, and you can sign up to my newsletter. That's where you'll also get all of my offerings. But in the meantime, I really appreciate y'all for being here. Drop a comment if this resonated with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Ciao!